The days for Continental Airlines are numbered as the airline completes its merger with United. Travelers will see changes that impact how you book a flight and how you redeem frequent flyer miles. On your site, consumer advocate Jen Strathman shows you what to expect the next time you fly.
Continental and United Airlines have been merging their operations for months, slowly making changes. At Hopkins, there are signs of both airlines, one right next to the other.
It can be confusing.
Sometimes travelers book tickets on Continental, but when they show up at the airport, they find out they're actually flying United. It's caused check-in confusion, especially at bigger airports, where United and Continental are not in the same terminal. Do you check in at the United counter or the Continental? The merger is also causing problems for frequent flyers.
You go online and you book the flight with Continental, you show up at the airport and it's magically turned into a United flight. All your perks with Continental have disappeared.
Perks are a big deal to big-time flyers like those in the 100,000-mile club, and those perks are harder to get.
We do get upgrades, but domestically we don't get as many now because there are twice as many frequent flyers.
Frequent flyers are hoping the bumpy flying experience will end once the merger is complete this Saturday.
We've all been assured that on March 2nd it's all going to be fixed.
The frequent flyer programs, customer service, signs, and ticketing will all merge into one system. You'll no longer book tickets at Continental.com, although the new United site will resemble the old Continental one.
As long as the service is great, I will be happy.
To minimize the impact, the changes will start as you sleep overnight Saturday. But some critics say expect delays early Saturday morning. So pack your patience just for a few more days. The end is in sight. Travelers just hope this merger doesn't mean the end of a hub in Cleveland.
It's one reason that we stay in the city is because, Hopkins is a hub.
The new United is committed to Hopkins for a few years, but the long-term future is still up in the air. On your side, Jen Strathman, News Channel 5.
This is News Channel 5.
Tomorrow is a big day for the United Hub in Cleveland. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tracy Carlos. According to an agreement signed back in 2010, United can begin cutting back its services and could close its hub in 2015. On your side, consumer reporter Jen Strathman is tracking the activity at Hopkins and shows us what this all means for everybody, Jen.
Well, the big question, why should I care? Two reasons. First, airfares could go up, and the city of Cleveland could lose $4 billion in business.
Developers are rolling the dice on Cleveland, gambling $9 billion on its comeback, constructing a casino, an office and entertainment complex, and a new convention center. Groups are already booking events and leasing building space. But how easy will it be for these tourists and businesses to get to Cleveland?
Need to do more to keep business travelers coming in here.
Marcus Lynn spends a lot of time at Cleveland Hopkins traveling for business. It's a convenient airport to travel through, but Marcus is concerned about the noticeable cutbacks.
It's changed over the last few years. They used to have direct flights to Gatwick, south of London, to Paris. None of that's going on anymore.
Companies are also dealing with the loss of nonstop domestic flights. Cleveland accounting firm Ernst & Young estimates 100 of their employees fly every day.
For example, us flying to Kansas City might be more difficult than it was before.
5 on your side found United is making cutbacks at all its hubs. Since 2007, United cut 29% of its flights in and out of Cleveland, and those cuts could be deeper in the next 3 years. Under a 2010 state agreement, United can decrease flights if its profits here don't meet certain standards. To keep United committed to Cleveland, the Greater Cleveland Partnership is asking businesses to spend up to $300 more per ticket to fly out of Cleveland's hub.
We'll pay a premium. I'm not so sure we've said what a dollar premium is on that, but we're willing to pay one if we think it's reasonable for the type of trip we want to take.
Ernst & Young is willing to pay a premium, but it's still watching the prices closely. They average $450 out of Cleveland.
I think that they're getting pretty high, and I think that needs to start leveling or maybe over time declining some when we start seeing that they're getting a profitability model to make this make the most sense.
There's major concern airfares may go higher if we lose the hub. That happened in Cincinnati when Delta pulled out. The prices there are now the highest in the country. Cleveland's are 9th highest.
And what Delta did in Cincinnati is probably what's going to happen at at Hopkins as well, despite what United says.
George Habika is the founder of Airfare Watchdog, a deal alert site. He feels there are too many hubs in the U.S., and United Chicago hub is too close to Cleveland. So is there one last card the city can play to make United stay?
If I were Hopkins, I would use the threat of having a Spirit or a JetBlue come in there as leverage to keep United to their word.
It's anyone's bet what will happen. The business community and airport can play all the cards they want. But it's the airline who is running this game and will ultimately decide if it's winning or losing by keeping its hub here.
Now, United said Cleveland is an important part of its network, and it's working with city leaders to provide a sustainable future here for air service. In the last few weeks, the airline has cut back a few flights, but also added some. We'll be watching what happens here at Hopkins. The changes could come, if there are any, in the next 3 years. On your side in Cleveland, Jen Strathman, News Channel 5.
2 years after its merger with Continental, United Airlines is still consolidating its operations, including here in Cleveland.
And the latest government statistics show flights are down 3% year over year at Hopkins Airport. On your side, consumer advocate Jen Strathman spent some time at Cincinnati's airport, joins us with what could be at stake for Northeast Ohio.
Well, the concern is Cincinnati's seen a dramatic decrease in flights in the last few years. Gas prices are one reason. The merger is also to blame. Travelers downstate are paying the highest airfares in the country. So what's happening there, some experts say, may happen here.
When you land at the Cincinnati airport, you see modern conveniences, a fresh look, and people waiting to help you. The airport's undergone a major facelift, hoping to hide this closed terminal, abandoned gates, and silent baggage carousels. While most passengers will never see these eyesores, you can't hide the problems even with a makeover.
It's kind of a little on the empty side.
Have you ever seen an empty McDonald's?
There's no one at the stores. There's no one really in the flights.
Ryan Johnson flew from Newark to Cincinnati and estimates at least 10 seats were vacant on his plane.
I don't know if this is necessarily sustainable.
Cincinnati sustained its hub status after Delta and Northwest Airlines merged, but it hasn't retained the activity. The airport lost 72% of its flights.
You go up there and you could time it, and there was an airplane landing every 2 minutes. Now to just sit there and look and not see an airplane in the sky anywhere around, it's just amazing.
These runways are familiar territory to Alan Cook. He flew for Delta's regional airline, Comair. The Cincinnati-based airline shut down in September, leaving Alan without a job.
We're going through a total life change right now.
The impact of losing so many flights is hitting close to home for those who worked at the airport and those who did not. Chiquita Brands moved its headquarters to another state where there are more international flights.
It's a huge ripple effect beyond anything what I ever would have thought would have happened.
The city of Cleveland wants to avoid a similar fate for Hopkins, an airport that's estimated to be a $4 billion economic engine. Businesses are uniting for Cleveland's hub and paying up to $300 more per ticket to fly out of Hopkins. The state even got involved and signed an agreement with United that keeps the hub here until 2015.
But they're only delaying the inevitable.
Aviation analyst Jay Ratliff went through his share of mergers as general manager of Northwest Airlines. He said Cincinnati lost flights because it was so close to other Delta hubs like Detroit. Experts say they think Cleveland will face the same issue with its proximity to United Chicago hub. Ratliff said you'd have to ignore history to think Cleveland won't see a drastic reduction in flights.
That could easily drop under 175 flights a day, which the unfortunate part is you have such an incredible proven facility there. It's going to be a ghost town.
And you say it with such confidence, and why is that? Because people will say you're crazy.
Well, they said I was crazy in Columbus when America West was purchased, U.S. Airways bought America West, and they said, well, Columbus is going to be okay, and I said, no, it's not. It won't be. Same thing with Cincinnati with Delta.
Cincinnati is banking its future on cargo operations like DHL, hoping to survive in a post-merger world where there are simply fewer flights and fewer passengers.
United said Cleveland is an important part of its network, and the airline is working with the city to provide a sustainable future for Cleveland air service. City leaders have told me in the past they don't believe flights will be reduced with so much development in the downtown area. Those predicting change expect it will happen in the next few years. On your side, Jen Strathman, News Channel 5.